Hey guys, it's Ella, and I am here to talk about this documentary, A Fall from Freedom. So it tells a story about how SeaWorld captured the animals and breaking apart families. So let's get on with the video.
Yeah, it's a very sad situation right here. My daughter Ella here, she's come to me about this video because since she was a small child, we've taken her to SeaWorld because she has a passion for sea life. And she discovered the video on her own, doing searches online, and she saw that there should be free, like we see on the picture here. But unfortunately, they're not free. They're captured. They're kept in tanks in SeaWorld. And even though we visit these places, we realize that, yes, they are in captivity, and it would be better if they're in freedom. But SeaWorld, even when they speak about it, and they're not the only park, by the way, either that does this, but seeing as it's the park we actually have gone to many times in the past they're always talking about how that this is to educate people. This is that they're some kind of like safe haven for these animals. But the reality that's in this documentary is very shocking. And this young lady right here has wanted to be it.
And they kill their own animals.
That's very sad, very sad. So she's watched this video, she's watched other documentaries, and really educated herself about what's going on, and that's what we want to share with you today. So can you tell us a little bit about what's in the video? I mean, how do they capture the killer whales, for example? And that's by nets and stuff, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find in this video here where they talk about it. But if you can talk a little bit to the people about it, I think I'm pulling it up here.
The thing about SeaWorld, they just want money. They don't really care about their animals. They don't really love them. I mean, like, they have to do tricks every day of their life just to eat, and they don't hardly eat. They do a lot of tricks, only one treat. That's it.
That's
a bunch
ridiculous.
Of treats, that's it.
Now this here, is this the killer whale or is this a dolphin that they're capturing here? I can't quite see the screen.
I think that's a false killer whale.
Okay, a false killer whale. I'm going to get to the place here because we saw this in here, and of course the documentary goes into a lot of details about the killer whales, how they capture them. And I don't know if this is the one or not, but there's one that they captured. Nobody wanted the killer whale, and so they just kept him in a tank.
And then he died from loneliness. And you know, Shamu died at 10. At the age of 10, one orca died at 2, and the second orca died at 12.
Now, can you tell me, like this one that was put in this tank that was just left alone, how long was he in that tank before he finally died? Do you know how many years it was?
I don't think I know that because I don't think they really told that, but...
They just said that he died from loneliness, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, how often, I know you've seen this documentary several times, do you know how often that they are trying to capture these animals and what all happens to them?
How is that happening? Oh my...
Because right now on the screen here, we have a killer whale.
I didn't even know that.
They have captured him in this net. And now there's different versions, and I actually found a Fall from Freedom that's a little bit longer than the one I think that you originally shared with me. So that may be a part that you haven't seen before. But it's not just the killer whales either, though, is it, Ella? It's also the dolphins.
And the orcas. Like, even, like, you see how they have to do tricks all the time. They can never get a rest.
No. They're just always having to entertain in order to eat. You know, it's like we work for food. You know, you see people on the streets out there that are all the time having to work for food. But
And you know, SeaWorld and all of the marine parks are lying to you about saying that they live longer in captivity and they only live very little in the wild. That's so false because, like, about, like, how you know, they killed Shamu's mother right in front of her.
oh my gosh, that's terrible. Now, was that in what I wanted to find on here, because I remember you showing me what happens over, like, in the, I don't know if it's China or Japan or the Philippines, where they capture so many of these dolphins as well, and they just, it's terrible.
No, like, they did not capture it, they killed it.
Oh,
They kill
they're
all
killing them
of
for food, is that right? And then
Yeah.
SeaWorld actually would get some of these animals as well. Let me see real quick. I think it's a different...
You see, they're not really loving the animal. My friend told me one time, like, they're not really petting the orca. They're actually having little brushes on their hands, just brushing the orcas and and all of the animals.
Yeah, but
Because they don't really want those animals. They're just like, well, we just made money. That's it.
yeah, it's all about making money. And the thing is so few of these animals are truly loved or anything. Go ahead.
They like, since you see like a group of dolphins in a wild like you see now, since they're capturing them, they only capture a few, and that breaks apart families. And then, like, they took one of the orcas' babies away, and then the orca was like shaking and crying after it. Or maybe the baby done it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just terrible. It's terrible what happens. And I want you guys to be able to hear a little bit about what they're saying on
By
here.
accident, several of us were out sailing one day, and we came across a whale capture, and we weren't really sure what it was at first. We saw this huge flotilla of boats and so forth coming towards us, chasing these whales down into southern Puget Sound, using explosive devices dropped from the airplane and all kinds of tactics that weren't allowed in the permit that they'd been given. We watched as the whales made a run for it. By that time, the captors had netted off a big enough portion of this inlet that they were able to get them inside the purse seine. There was no question that there were mothers inside the net with babies outside, and it appeared to me that the captor stood there and lit these underwater explosive devices as fast as he could light them. It sounded like a war. There was just explosion after explosion after explosion. It was one of the most gruesome things I've ever seen. Consequently, we went to court and we really started to dig into who was behind all this. We found it was SeaWorld behind it. We reached settlement only after testimony began to come in about previous captures where lots of whales had died.
This is what you're talking about right here, isn't it, Ella? I mean, you're seeing the sad stories and watching these and seeing what happens. And
Yeah, I mean, can't you guys just, like, hear how they're crying after their babies and families? Like, they don't want to, like, leave their families. They want to stay with them. But those stupid, dumb saviors, that which are not, then they just capture them for no reason, just to have some money, and then they'll never see their family or the ocean again.
And when you say saviors, you're talking about SeaWorld, the people that are claiming that they're saving these orcas, is that right?
They are lying to you there, so never go there. I would never go there ever again now.
Yeah, it's touched Ella so much. And I mean, we had, even for her, at one time, my wife got an annual pass for her because living in Florida at the time, this was even before we went to Europe, about 5 years ago. And so that way we could take her more frequently. And I just found the other part, and I want Ella to talk about this in a second here, but it has devastated this young lady, you know, and she has really wanted to become an advocate for freeing these animals. And in reality, you know, the only thing that I could see that could be of a value is if a place like SeaWorld, let's say there was an injured whale, something like that, and they bring it in to treat it, rehabilitate the whale, and then to set the whale free. Not to sit there and to do tricks for food and things like that. Let me, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, like, I mean, see, Mama read this to me. Like, I asked her to look up, what did SeaWorld do wrong. It was 17 bad things. Like, they broke one of the orcas' necks, because, you know, and then they captured 2 polar bears that were together for 20 years, and then they separated them, and one of them died from broken heart.
My goodness. Let me play this part here, Ella, and then we'll have you talk about this as well.
To start selectively driving dolphins, including false killer whales, into shallow water where SeaWorld and other ocean area, including Marine World, could select the beautiful few, the highly cosmetic animals that didn't have the nicks and abrasions that wouldn't look good in public, and then allow the fishermen to slaughter the remaining dolphins and false killer whales. The rejects. SeaWorld and other ocean area, including Marine World, continued to underwrite this dry fishery in order to obtain false killer whales. And it was only when Marine World apparently got some wires crossed in terms of information leakage that the whole thing became quite well known to the public. By the time I moved to San Diego as research scientist, SeaWorld had several false killer whales in captivity that had been obtained through this dry fishery that they stimulated.
When we drive dolphins in, we sell them to aquariums. The price is 300,000 yen for bottlenose dolphins and 450,000 yen for false killer whales. Not all dolphins caught can be sold or are proper for aquarium use. Those that don't go to the parks are killed and the meat is sold.
Can you comment on this here? Because I know this is something that really touched you as well.
Yeah, I mean, like, when they kill, like, them, like, did you guys see how that water was red? That was actually blood, and that person that, like, stepped it on the animal, that, like, I could imagine how bad that could have hurted his stomach.
Yeah.
Wouldn't look good in
that
public,
was just
and then allow the fishermen to slaughter the remaining dolphins.
That was just so sad to see. I mean, because I mean these animals, as you can see, they have red blood like we do. They have hearts. They breathe air like we do. And this, and the odd thing is, the Bible actually says that they have a soul. Animals have a soul. So here they are, and like Ella just said, he just walks on the animal with just no regard. Here the animals are, especially these two here, they're still alive, they're suffering, and there's no regard whatsoever for their life. And you know, if I understand right, Ella, you may know this better than me, but dolphins are some of the smartest animals, smartest mammals there are in the world, because they have a very high intelligence and they're able to communicate with sonar.
But why kill a dolphin or any animal when they love humans?
Right, exactly.
Because, I mean, they only capture them for money. They don't really care about them. They don't not even like to set them free or anything. Maybe if the people would just start to boycott it, then they will set them free. And that's what I'm waiting for.
Exactly. That's actually Ella's desire, is for people to boycott SeaWorld and other Marine World, these types of parks out here, because it is not fair to these animals. I mean, sure, SeaWorld is taken in, like you'll see in the turtle park there, they've got where a boat hit one or a shark had bit one, and they saved its life. And yes, in that respect there, it's safer for that animal to be there than it is to be in the wild. But when it comes to the killer whales, the sharks, and look at him. I mean, he's struggling. He wants to be free, but he's not going to be free. You know, because they don't care. And I know it has bothered Ella tremendously. And I want to show, let's go back, you were speaking to, earlier, Ella, about how that they make them do all these tricks and stuff. So
yeah,
I'm going to bring it back to that if I can.
Maybe in the... So anyways, maybe in a few years there won't be any more animals in the ocean, because not only SeaWorld, but we're just killing and eating them, and that's wrong. But these type of animals, it's not good for them in the wild, because they go through a bad disease in the wild that kills them, a chemical pollution. And it's okay to capture those because they seem to care for belugas in captivity than through the problems they suffer through in the wild.
Let me ask you this. Why not, in that case, if the beluga whale is suffering because of chemical pollution, why not? We need to do two things. And one, we need to find out the source of the pollution and make the plants that are causing the pollutions to stop doing their pollution. And then secondly, rather than just capturing them and putting them in captivity, isn't there cleaner waters maybe that they could be moved to where they could survive? Like for even in Florida's waters, like the manatee.
Yeah, but the bad thing is I don't even know if they live in cold water, because here it's warm, and I don't know if they're in cold or warm yet.
But we could find out. I mean, the scientists could figure it out. They could relocate them rather than putting them in captivity, unless we need to use captivity temporarily until they can be repositioned to another place.
But they might even die younger when they're in another ocean, because of the salt water can be a little bit different for them. What if they have like a different type of salt water, and they can not just live in any kind of salt water?
I think it's mainly temperatures is where the issue is on this.
But still, it's wrong to capture any animal because they don't want to leave their families. Imagine if you guys had a family and then they took away your part of your family. What would you do?
Well, you got an excellent point. Exactly, because what about in humans? I mean, we have humans where a child is kidnapped or goes missing in the woods, and sometimes they're never reunited again, or in some cases maybe they are reunited, and it's a glorious day when they're reunited. But like you said, what would we feel like if we lose part of our family? And their families matter to them as much as ours matter to us.
Yeah, I mean, just to watch for a second. See how he has to do tricks? Only that. Every killer whale in captivity has a bad life. Every single one of them. Even dolphins, even anything. But how SeaWorld even treats them, how they treat them? Like, they come to them, the whales, and they go just like that, and then go out like that.
Yeah.
They go do a trick. If you don't do a trick, you don't eat.
That's true. That's true. Can you tell us a little bit about how they train them when we're not seeing them? Like when we see the show, we see what they do, but what do they go through when they're training them and we don't see how the trainers are working with the animals there? Are they kind to them or?
No, I don't believe they would be kind. Don't believe anything from SeaWorld. Anything. Well, except if you want to know where the restaurants are or something, I guess, but
that's about right.
Yeah.
Or how to spend your money, or So, and the thing is in fairness, I'm sure that many of the people that work with these animals, they probably do love these animals and they appreciate the fact they get to work with them. But
no, they don't.
They don't. Oh, okay. Tell me then. All right, then. I'm sorry.
I mean, everybody says that the trainers love their animals. Look. You could actually kill them. Like one of the killer whales, when they were capturing them, one of them had big, heavy chains. It was going down into the bottom, couldn't breathe for air, and then it passed away.
This is a disaster.
You see how those animals suffer, like they're trapped in a net and it's hard to get air. It's hard to even
He's struggling for life. He knows something bad is about to happen.
Yeah, he's struggling to get out. And now, like, as you can see, that happened. Bad luck for every animal, I guess. Except for dogs.
It's a disaster for them in their lives. They're not meant to be captured, you know. And besides boycotting SeaWorld, what's your desire for these animals that are in captivity? What do you want to see happen to these animals?
I want to see some earthquake happen. I want them to go free.
To go free. So that's your ultimate desire, is you want to see them free.
Yeah, I want them to just go free. You see how they're swimming with their families and they're having fun? Like, one of the peoples are trying to save the SeaWorld from not capturing them. And SeaWorld is a devil. Like, it tried to blow up that ship to even, like, save them.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's what she's talking about. Was there was a vessel that was trying to interfere in the capture of these animals, and yeah, they were attacking the vessel, trying to set it on fire and sink the vessel practically to keep them from interfering in their capture of the animals. So, and I don't know which particular park was involved in that, but it is a shame, and it's very sad to see these things happening to these animals.
You know, even Discovery Cove does the same the same thing. Kill, eat, kill, eat, kill, eat, eat, kill, eat, kill, eat.
That's very sad.
For the sharks, they do not like it either. Even though who they are, it doesn't even matter. They have a family as well.
Yeah.
Even the fishes, wondering how they capture all of the fishes though.
Yeah. So everything that they have there.
But not only sea animals, like all animals, like some of them might capture like lions, like Animal Kingdom. They do not treat their animals good either. But
no.
What I am so
we can do a different video when it comes to the animals, but I understand what you mean. All animals should be set free.
Yeah, I mean, except snakes.
Well, that's different, but you know, one thing I would say, and
SeaWorld makes me extremely mad with all of this like thing.
Yeah, what they've done. Anyway, you might want to just tell the people to have a nice day. Help to support any kind of drive that would boycott the actions that SeaWorld's doing. And, you know, maybe we should make a t-shirt that says, set the whales free, or set sea life free, or something like that, you know. But, or if you can make one for yourself, you know, go you know, free the animals. You know, and I was telling Ella too, you know, because of her passion for these animals.
Wait, I totally forgot to tell you guys this. SeaWorld is asking people to help them make a new park, and just do not help them. Warn people not to help them for sure.
Absolutely.
They're gonna kill those animals.
That's terrible, but yes. So anyway, guys, think about it, what we're seeing. It is a tragedy that's happening in this world. And if you want to be able to see them and there's no SeaWorld or no Marine World or whatever they may be, always remember there are places you can go to visit them, like off the coast of Greenland or off the coast of Alaska. You travel to go to Florida to see them. Why not to travel one of these places and take one of these boat rides where you can see them in their natural habitat?
And by the way, you don't have to pet them, because maybe up in heaven you would pet one of them, which won't be too long, but you can still get splashed. They do better tricks in the wild, and in captivity they do like retarded tricks and stuff, but in the wild, when they jump up so high, it's like, whoa.
Yes, very true. Anyway, you want to thank the people for watching?
Thank you.
Anyway, we hope it's a blessing to you, as it's been a blessing to me that she has shared these things with me and our family as well. Shalom.